Tonight on the Invention Laboratory, we discuss why creating an audience around your invention journey is vital to your success. You may have heard my adage, educate, invent, network, and repeat. It's now time to understand why you should also document, curate, recycle, and release. Documenting your invention journey is as honest and heartbreaking as it gets. There's a huge difference between creating and documenting. The biggest difference is the raw truth of the process. Inventing is a rugged and sometimes unforgiving landscape, and that's often overshadowed by media coverage that chooses to only focus on the extremes, the overnight success and the tragic failure, neither of which are accurate representations of the actual inventing process. When the media reports on overnight success, they never cover the 15 years of struggle before the creator landed that licensing deal, business partnership, or buyout contract. When they cover the tragic failure, they never cover the successes that led the creator down the rabbit hole. No one blindly throws money, time, and effort into their project unless they've seen visible progress or they've been convinced by industry professionals that they were doing all the right things. And no one ever gets to see when creators give up, one call short of success, one email short of contacting the right people, or giving up on their dream one project short of throwing in the towel and reluctantly accepting a 9-to-5 to start digging their way out of the hole they've dug over the last 5 years. Because we can't see into the future, our fight or flight mechanism can only default to what we've experienced in the past. There's a reason that financially stable people last longer in the industry than creators on a budget, and it has nothing to do with the money. It's the manifestation of your past experiences. Financially stable people meet less daily rejection, hardship, and negative information than those struggling to keep the lights on. As an everyday creator, you know what it feels like if you don't pay that bill and they shut the lights off. If you're an everyday creator, you know what happens if your kids don't have money for their field trip. Those repercussions pigeonhole you into making decisions that you may not have made if finances weren't a factor. Your mentality has more control over this process than your wallet. Documenting your journey allows you to connect with fellow creators on both economic levels. It's a blessing and a curse, but the pros far outweigh the cons. When you connect with people in a similar situation, they feel your pain, they commiserate with you when things are going poorly, and they share advice on how they keep going despite being in the same or a similar situation. When you connect with creators that are living a different lifestyle, you learn about the processes and ideas that are important when you aren't pinching your pennies together. You may even cement relationships that help you in the future when your back is against the wall. The downside is that you'll also encounter the naysayers, people that watch you succeed and struggle, and they will make it their sole mission to do what they can to bring you down. Some people do this out of jealousy and spite, while others may genuinely care about your well-being. The trick is putting on your suit of armor every day and deflecting the bad info and cradling the good. Some days you will confuse the two. As you learn to create boundaries with your audience and future customers, you'll eventually realize that you're creating a blueprint for your supporters to follow. Your fans will celebrate your successes with you, and at the project's conclusion, you'll be able to revisit the process from day one and learn what made you successful and what held you back along the way. Curating content for social media platforms is just as much for you as it is your customers. The internet is full of credible, interesting, and helpful content, but your ability to filter it for your audience makes you an asset to their invention journey. There are very few safe places on the internet to collaborate and gather credible invention process information. People are so tight-lipped in fear of losing their product rights that they don't get many opportunities to connect with like-minded individuals. Most invention-based Facebook pages are posting news articles about politics or current events to generate ad revenue via clicks and shares. This leaves an entire market underserved on genuine invention news, product releases, USPTO updates, innovations, and video content about products in your industry. You could base an entire Facebook page on inventions in just the home and garden industry. The ability to promote your niche and connect with people that are already looking for products in your field is an automatic lead generation tool. When you're curating content for your audience, Constantly rehashing your personal content will become stagnant, and let's be honest, not all of it is worth a second read or listen or view. Curating content similar to your invention gives your audience a reason to stay and the opportunity to become a fan of you and your process. Some of your content, however, is actually gold, and it should be recycled. Now, the goal isn't to put out the content exactly as it was when you produced it, but to recycle it into different formats. Find out which of your articles, podcasts, or videos generated the most buzz after their release and recycle the information into a different medium or on a different platform. If your YouTube video did extremely well, you might consider ripping the audio into a podcast. Even if you don't use the entire video, pull the highlights and touch on the topics that people talked about in the comment section of that video. If there was a specific visual in a video that people loved, such as pouring a mold or a motivational quote, you can turn that into a GIF or a meme to lengthen the life of that content. Recycling your content cuts down on the amount of time you have to spend sourcing creative material. After all, you are still working through the invention process, and that takes a tremendous amount of time as it is. But please remember that you're doing this for a reason. Two of the biggest benefits of an invested audience is attention and opportunity. If you intend on crowdsourcing for your project, people are more likely to help if they're invested in you and you've brought them value at some point during your relationship. They are also more than likely going to be your first customers after the process is complete. And finally, let's talk about the release. You've been climbing Innovation Mountain and it seemed like you would never get to the peak, but here it is. Today's the day that you show the world what you've created. It's the day that your audience has been waiting for, and it's the day that you get to see the fruits of your labor. As I've said in the past, never celebrate victory or defeat on your own. This is the make or break moment for you and your followers. If you do it together, one of two things is going to happen. Your audience is either going to rejoice and celebrate the success, or they're going to rally around you to keep you from giving up on your dream of bringing a product to life. Sure, you're going to have your I told you so crew and the hostile, this is where you messed up gang, but more than anything, you're going to watch people defend your honor, and there's going to be an outpouring of support to keep you producing content. What most people don't realize is your audience wants you to succeed so that they can give themselves permission to try. If they've related to you and they see you as an equal, your success becomes their success. And when they start their invention journey, they're going to call upon your invention community to support their journey. The future of innovation is collaborative. The days of burying your head in the sand and hoping for a lucky break are coming to an end. We're slowly realizing that social media and your influence over it is a powerful tool. Collective success is a far easier goal to achieve than independent wealth. Having processes to achieve those goals means that you get to spend more time on what you love most, creating. You may want to consider writing a book about your journey. It's actually easier than you might think, especially if you've been documenting the process. Every creator should have an opportunity to tell their story in its entirety. It isn't until you've completed that process that you truly reflect on your successes and failures. You're setting yourself up as an authority figure in the industry on how to or what not to do. Both perspectives are beneficial to your audience and your future in product development. This process can be repeated indefinitely because every project will be different. Every idea for a service or product will be different. And the people gravitating toward your journey will be motivated by their own self-interests. The world needs innovation, change, and clarity. How you choose to take part in that process is really up to you, but if you're still listening to this, my guess is that you're passionate about inventing and how it affects those around you. You're hoping to be an example for those that are constantly told what they can and can't achieve. So document, curate, recycle, and release. Leave your mark on the world. Thanks for tuning into episode 27, and as always, reach out to me with any questions you'd like to have answered in future episodes. Until next time, take care.